Welcome back to Rendezvous for Beirut, and we've been talking about all things to do with clubs and nightlife. And just a reminder that Ivan Dips is providing an artwork that's going up for auction, and all the proceeds will go to NGOs. So make sure you put in a bid for that because it's going for a good cause. So sitting with me here, we have two guys who normally would be called competition, but they're actually friends, and we're all kind of friends anyway, especially in these tough economic times, and especially after what's happened on August 4th. Sitting with me here is Nemer, Saliba, Überhaus, Discotek, Garten, and of course Wassim Malham, formerly known as Who Killed Bruce Lee, an awesome band that was rocking the stages years ago and is now part of Factory People, running several clubs and venues and locations. And both of these clubs have been damaged beyond operation. So Nemer, let's start with you. Let's get a bit of background on how it all got started. I think it was back in 2011, 2012.
November 2012.
November 2012 in Hamra.
Deep end of Hamra.
Small little basement in this hotel that was cool and all.
Proper underground.
Proper underground.
Yeah. It was, for us, it was the beginning. The boys had already, the scene was already there, up and running, from BO18 to basement to the parties that Sat was doing, decks on the beach. And then we felt the need for a club. Basement had closed back then. And so the boys from the days of the Speakeasy, my bar, we came together with Romax, got a few other friends, Ziad, Ronald Hajar, Nabih Esta, Phil, Fouad Zarzour, you know, Tres Collation, made a nice posse of cool kids, and we opened the club.
And the season went well, and by the following summer came the outdoor venue.
Yeah, it was the winter venue, and I came from a background of bars. And I knew summers were very hard. Winter was good for us, but summer, with former Sky Bar that used to be here, and all these rooftops would open in summer, and the beach clubs, they would suck out every single person from those bars. So I knew that it was only a 6-month thing, maximum by April. So I had to find an alternative venue for Überhaus. Looked everywhere. I was convinced it was going to be a rooftop. We nearly took one in downtown. I remember soundcheck day, cops came through the building. I'm like, okay, this is not the venue.
It's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. Because in my head, I'm like, well, summer needs to be either on a roof, on the beach. But neither of those options panned out. And then, all right, so I was like, if I want to find something fresh, do something kind of fresh, you know. And this is how the garden idea came out. So it was, you know, you were in the house, and now we're going to take you out to the garden, right?
Nice.
And the Beirut Exhibition Center was there, BEC and BL. Back then there was not much going on in BL. Shafi El-Khazin had Sky Bar. Elistiriades had Music Hall. And then comes along a 22-year-old kid that wants to take a parking lot. And there's a Beirut Exhibition Center right there, and there's this beautiful bamboo garden. I was like, that's it. We'll do a garden right here. We'll just have to buy another tree, and like another line of trees, put some AstroTurf, build a dome. Got it.
And it was all locally made.
Yeah. All with those hands.
We were talking to Fouad Bishwati earlier, and we were sitting underneath the pyramid, which used to be the dome, that eventually became a pyramid. And he explained how there were issues in Beirut, again, with sound, with these hotels, which popped up only after the club started.
Yeah, I mean, the Garten, when it was the original Garten that was founded in 2013, was closer towards this side, and it was kind of in a hole. And the dome was there, and it was still like, we had the Function One sound system that we had was, you know, just a stack.
Yeah.
Nothing that we have today.
Woody stack.
Yeah, Woody stack style, you know, like, you know, just stack them right and left. It was pretty powerful. But it's nothing compared to the sound system that we have installed today. But even then, we got ourselves a little lawsuit from the Four Seasons. We were allowed. And then when we had to move plots, the idea of building the temple, the pyramid, came, well, first of all, I'm very into geodesic kind of structures. And so the dome, or like platonic structures, not platonic structure. So the dome is, you know, like a nice sphere or half sphere. But then I really want to do a pyramid just because. And then when I consulted with Fouad, he's like, this is actually genius because this is how you need to compress. I didn't think of sound, but that's how you compress sound. Either you have to build really high walls, or you need to
Absorb the back end. Right.
place the bass right there, and then it'll just absorb that sound, and you just shoot it that way. And the Four Seasons is just 100, 200 meters away. It worked.
And you had people for years who were trying to complain about that, but once you guys got that structure done, it was 7, 8 years, everything was fine, right?
2017.
17.
It's only in 3 years, that structure, honestly. But yeah, if you're behind the temple, literally 0 dB. Nothing. You walk through that tunnel, you're in the club.
And it was there.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And sound was really important to us. So Wassim as well, again, I love mentioning the fact that you were in a band member because you know the technicalities of it all too. So also, how did you get involved with Factory people in Grand? Because I know that you've been friends with them for many years as well.
Yeah.
And you joined the team how many years ago?
Around 2015. Around when Grand Factory took off, and then also came to be around 3 years ago. This was supposed to be our 3rd season, supposed to be, right? And
A couple of weeks of a season.
yeah, technically, well, I had known Jade since his band days as well. He had an awesome band back in the day where Nova was happening and
That's
all those
right,
places
yeah.
were happening.
Send and feel.
So yeah, and he also used to own co-own the basement with Ahmed Hosseini and Abdo Shleila. Abdo, who's my cousin as well. So I know Jad since his hair was black before he turned into the silverhead.
Silverhead.
So he was part of my growing up as well. He was also like a great inspiration for me musically, let's say. And in 2015, I guess I, on a personal level, wanted to leave the corporate world. I was working in the corporate world in multinationals.
Advertising agency.
Yeah, I was in Leo Burnett at the time.
We encouraged you. We had a drink on one night. I think it was the year before, 2014. We said, now's
we
your
were,
time to get out of there.
Where were we? We were in downtown over at Buddha Bar.
New
What's the name?
Asia Capitol.
Capitol, true. It was you, me, and who was with us? Roger, true. True. And we sat together and we just had that idea of like, we had the same passion for creative, the same passion for music, and the same passion for like the local and regional scene and how to grow it. Because when you're an artist growing up in a city like ours that doesn't have really the infrastructure for such projects, you have to do it yourself, right? We all did it ourselves, and you have to also have that personal initiative. You can't wait for anyone to do anything. You have to do it yourself. And I saw the same energy with Jad and Tal and everyone in the team, and we just, like the chemistry, we clicked together, and we started creating, if you want, like a movement and not only a party, because we all wanted to be part of one, and maybe we didn't find the right one to suit maybe our hopes and dreams, so we said, like, why don't we build one together? And then came a lot of also key members like Samer, who also was
you spoke to us earlier,
you were speaking to him, and we all come from different backgrounds. So put that collective creative group in one room, and a lot of negotiation, a lot of arguments, and then you get something really interesting out of it. So that's kind of how it started, and we never looked back from then.
And it's pretty genius because, you know, people who were in the corporate world, a lot of us managed to break out of it because we believed that there was something functional, something groundbreaking, something that we believed in, like a passion, you know, as to bring us to where we are. And, you know, Nemer's been doing this since you barely graduated college, I believe, right?
Yes, this is the year I graduated.
And you believe that this was
I was working since my college days. I was working since I was 16, and I was in Saudi Arabia. I was going to open I worked for a pots and pans company selling silverware, and yeah, the other side of the food, other side of the food and beverage industry.
I'm guessing you did it well, Bas.
I was a good salesman. You know, I can sell anything to anyone. So I was convinced that okay, I'm gonna take the factory that's here and the distribution that's here, and I'll take it to Saudi Arabia. I was in Riyadh, and my friend from the rugby team calls me up and is like, "Where are you?" I'm like, I'm in Saudi. He's like, "Where?" I'm like, "I'm in Saudi Arabia." He's like, "What the hell are you doing there?" I'm like, "I'm working." He's like, "Bro, let's open a bar."
Michael Shamas.
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah,
It was Jada bin Asif actually, but then Michael as well. I'm like, "Fine." He's like, "Nemer, we have a lot of friends, bro. let's just open a bar. We'll open a rugby bar, and we'll fill it up. Little did you know.
Get all the big buff guys to come in with the rugby and stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't the rugby. It didn't turn out to be a rugby bar, thankfully, thank God. But
So much testosterone in that bar, probably.
thank God. But it turned out to be a nice, nice alternative to behind the green door, but in the Hamra place. Hamra was difficult to operate in, but it had its glory days.
Yeah.
And Überhaus saw the end of it. In 2012, it was right the end of it. And also we opened in 2009. It was really the hardship. The Syrian war had just started. So for me as a businessman, I honestly started when it was shitty. Like, it was never easy. Our colleagues, or even our people like Shafi and the guys, Tony Hubbard and the boys, Mazen and Zain, and just the generation right before us, they did see those glory days.
Yes.
They tasted the millions.
That's right.
Yeah. We've done them, both of us. Those
The
are
90s.
companies. Even 2006,
2000s,
man.
yeah.
2006, they made the
1994 till 2006. Those were
even
like, those
2000,
days.
all the way up to the Syrian war. Right before the Syrian war, that's when. And I mean, I'm sure if he wants to talk about their numbers, but we did well every summer. Can you imagine how much more we would have made if this country was a bit stable?
Yeah.
And this region was a bit normal, just a bit. It's crazy.
Because even in the midst of the instability, things were still rocking.
Because
and
Lebanese
rolling.
people are just crazy. They want to party. At least let's talk about our sector. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of businesses, and hence why there's a revolution, is because we got to a point of no return. The country's collapsing. But summer 2019, last summer, 2-3 months before the revolution, it was a record summer for us at Garten. Can you imagine? A record summer, and 3 months later there's a revolution. Can you imagine how much more institutions could have made if there was a bit of normality?
When did you guys start to feel like there was a dip? Because I spoke to Samer earlier, and we're like, over the years things were kind of rocking and rolling, but were there any signs that there was trouble starting pre-October 2019?
I mean, if you go through it all, even during the basement days, right? You had that campaign where it was said it was safer underground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You remember in 2006 when the war had broke out? It was probably, I think, the first summer that basement had opened. And I guess in the geopolitics that we live in, within Lebanon and every other country that is a neighboring country or has a certain effect on the way life goes on here, you don't know what to expect, right? It's every single year there's something that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
There's something that has to go into your business plan and you have to account for, or there's some sort of obstacle that you have to overrun. And the thing is, they talk about the Lebanese resilience and basically. Our country, in terms of, for example, the industry that Nemer is talking about, the industry of the F&B industry, because we are part of the F&B industry. The F&B industry in the last 10 years alone had generated around 110 billion for the GDP,
Wow.
of which 30 billion was paid in taxes to the government. Where did that money go? No one knows. But that should have also helped to even build the infrastructure of this sector even further, or help to build infrastructure of other sectors. This was one of the major things that the company was offering in terms of, for example, سياحة السهر بيقولوا يعني the nightlife tourism.
Nightlife,
Yeah, so you had that happening, but you also had a lot of other things going for the country, right? Because clubbing or the party scene kind of changed since 2000, in the late 2005 to 2010 and up to today. Because number one, you had a surge in the local scene. The local scene got really strong, whether it was bands or DJs or people producing music. And number two, also from a cultural level, you had a lot of different music movements within the arts scene. The Nadine Labake movies, all of that was happening.
Yeah.
And all of these people they wanted a home, right? They wanted a place where they can chill with their friends and celebrate really interesting moments. And suddenly the party scene wasn't only about going out, having a couple of drinks, paying a shit ton of money, taking a table. It was also more about hanging out, getting introduced to other artists, because you know that's a place that's frequented by artists a lot. So you had many movements, and we were just in the right moment to kind of be inside all of that and make the best out of it. So, but there were always setbacks, always. And the biggest setback, I think, was towards the end of last year when the currency devaluation started happening. Because I completely disagree to the idea of the revolution affected the economy. I don't think the revolution affected the economy. I think the revolution might have been the only thing that could have really awakened that beast that should have been awakened
Things were
before.
not right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was coming.
But the currency devaluation, because of the banking system and how it operated in the last 10 years, the Ponzi scheme that they're accusing the BDL of, and all of that, led us to, we woke up one day and the dollar was 7,500. And that was difficult to navigate around. But we also did well, because then you have two choices.
Adapt.
You either look at your profit margin and you wave goodbye to it, and you try to maintain a certain pricing so it's still affordable for people to go out. And because going out here, you know it, it's an escape.
That's right.
It's not like other countries where you go out just because it's part of your daily.
Routine,
it's an escape.
yeah.
And if you understand that it's an escape, you understand that you can't really make it heavier for people to go out. So then you say goodbye to your profit margin. And we didn't have a problem with that. We were going to continue doing that, and continue supplying that. But then the explosion, then it makes it impossible for your operation to continue,
Yeah.
So but we were always fighting. Like Nemer said, he went into Hamra. Hamra was buzzing. It was happening. There were a couple of years, the golden years of Hamra. We all thought that place will have like a 10 or 15-year future.
2, 3
and he had to
years,
struggle that he had something and then he had to move again and then readapt. And it's a constant struggle, I'm sure, for them as well.
Yeah. I mean, every winter was Garten saved us every summer. Winters have been very, very hard on our firm from the get-go, from 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16. Every single winter has been extremely difficult for us. We had two hard summers, but 2015, the You Stink revolution.
Yeah.
This is, I think, the beginning of when you had to really notice something is not right with this country. Lebanese people cannot unite for trash. It's very sad.
That's true.
And that's how this is going to go. But this is the reality of things. The Lebanese people at the end of the day did not unite for the trash crisis. We shut down our venues to try and support that revolution. But anyways, it didn't pick up. But it was hard. 2012, Hamra died. 13, we couldn't reopen it there. Tried to open another venue. 15 was revoked our license. 17, and again, finally 3 years afterwards to finally get the license. 19, country goes to
Financial crisis, political crisis.
It's just been one fucked up roller coaster.
Yeah.
It's been one fucked up roller coaster. Anyone in our position that has been working this hard would be a millionaire. Anywhere in the world.
And then came 2020 and the coronavirus pandemic, which
that's on everyone. That's on everyone. This is something that I think our generations will learn how to forecast in their business plans. It's going to come.
It's funny that we have to forecast that in our business plans from now on.
Listen, you need to.
At the end of the business plan, you didn't account for the pandemic.
Reserve.
Yeah.
You got to put
Reserve.
put pandemic reserves now.
True.
But you were saying something about business plans and whatnot. No Lebanese businessman can ever make a business plan. It doesn't exist. And maybe that's why we're super tough. Maybe that's why we are very successful outside of Lebanon. Obviously, the last 10 years taught us how to have very thick skin. And, very resilient. Very, the perseverance to being a Lebanese businessman is extremely tough. And that's why I think it's kind of like it's your formation. It's your, your crash hardcore jiu-jitsu 10 years of you gotta fight.
You gotta let it out.
You gotta really fight to survive and to just, fall down and stand back up and fall down and stand back up. And I wouldn't regret any moment. But moving forward, unfortunately, I don't see any hope for this country anytime soon. Because the people are not uniting. The people are very divided. They're very segregated. I mean, a fucking bomb blew off half the
Right
city.
there. Yeah, just a thousand meters away from us now.
How many people went down the next day? You were there.
Yeah.
200,000.
Yeah.
200 fucking thousand. Come on. Since 2015, I gave everything I had to that revolution. Everything. I really believed in it. And then I saw that it didn't work out. I really kind of like, I lost hope. And it was very hurtful. And I kind of started like distancing myself from being here. I knew that I had to start focusing outside. And hence I got Istanbul, Dubai, Egypt. I was like focusing on it because I just knew that this was too unstable and something was going to happen eventually. Now, later, something is going to happen, and it didn't make sense. I was begging my mother for years after my father passed away, change the money from Lebanese pound to dollars. Get the money out from Lebanon. It doesn't make sense to earn this much interest rate. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Get it out.
And on August 4th, you were in your office, which is in Jamaica, I believe, and I saw the destruction of what happened to your house, and I'm very sorry about seeing that with you and Valentina's stories, because I mean that was such a colorful, creative. I mean it's home. Home got disintegrated. So, on behalf of all of us, we're really sorry about what happened to the house as well. We knew, like you were saying, everybody was aware that something was not right. Something could not hold up anymore, and it was just one hit after another until August 4th. So how have you changed on August 4th at 6 p.m. versus Nemer at August 4th, 6:08 p.m.?
Before that, it was great. Family lives here, beautiful house in the mountains, 106 years old, 5 generations of men, 4 of them passed away in that home. Raise your kids here, send them to school here, go on a few bucks outside, send the dollars here, live like a king. Now, after that, can you imagine my mother passed away or my sister passed away? Or, I mean, my friend is in a coma. I'm sure your friends are some of our friends are dead. It's not worth it. Is it worth it? I mean, is it?
Such a big question, right?
You'll die. And look at what happened today in the south.
It's such a big question, and
you can die.
And today, like we were discussing, we were sitting today with our friends. I had a meeting, and we were like, yeah, I saw some people kind of taking pictures of the site as if it was like some sort of touristic attraction, and then you think that those same people that are taking those pictures, I feel that, like, I don't blame anyone, the people.
It's shocking.
I don't blame
value.
I don't blame anyone. I just feel that because of these things, you start understanding that people are kind of numb and they don't realize maybe that could have been them so easily. They could have randomly been. I mean, 6 years, those ammonium were right next to our places where we party, where you would have at any point in time 15,000 people in Biel.
Yeah.
Imagine that had happened with all of these people here. Imagine coronavirus wasn't there and people were actually in Beirut. We had that.
Imagine the economy was fine and the politics were fine and people were out,
that would have been
11 p.m. instead of 6 p.m.
200 people up to maybe 20,000 people.
Massive.
That would have been a
bloodshed.
It is a massacre already.
No.
That's
but
not on another scale maybe. But I would like maybe to throw in some hope into this conversation a bit. Not from our business standpoint, not from the numbers and the business and where that can go, because yes, that is mega difficult. That's mega difficult to come back again and say, okay, I'll speak about our company. We will have to pay a bit less than 2 million to be able to be operational again pre-August 4. Same, not to actually do anything extra or anything more. But why you always in such a crisis or such a tough when you're against a tough wall, you always ask yourself why did you get into this in the first place, right? You always kind of retrospect. You go back and you think again. On a personal level, like, and I can also speak for a lot of the people that are surrounding our group, for example, that there's a mission that is happening in parallel to a really successful operation as well, because we've chosen to go down the route of the sharing. So we have a lot of people that own stake in our clubs, and Nemer at a certain point also because no one could have ever done this alone, something this big. We had a lot of people helping left, right, and center, but there is a mission in parallel that's happening, and that shouldn't break the mission of the local scene and what we built together, you know, like all of these guys that are now aspiring to produce music, all of these bands that have these new spaces and new homes that they can do things in, all of these university students that have places to go that look like them, that are also woke and 2020, because partying today is, and Nemer knows this very well. He worked on it a lot with Valentina, and look at Disco Banana. I mean, like what a great concept Disco Banana is, and you feel that if you get someone from Cirque du Soleil, let's say, from like if you get Guy Laliberté himself and you put him in Disco Banana, he will be like, what the fuck are you guys doing here? This is awesome. So that level of creativity, that level of inspiration between each other, that mission of what we are doing for our country and the way we are changing the way our country is perceived in mass media. You know how CNN portrays it or how BBC portrays it, like me, Nemer and I, Samer and the guys on a couple of camels moving into the desert that we don't even have here. So we were really on a mission to change the way people saw our country. I mean that is still there.
We did put
the operation of it is what's tough. But that mission is still there. حتى بتعرف بيقولوا حتى لو رجعتني على الكوخ الإيمان تبعي رح يضل محله يعني إنه أنا مؤمن بهيدا المشن اللي بلشناها سوا. بس إنه there will have to be adjustments يعني we'll have to go out a bit, see what's happening outside, try to ندعم اللي عم يصير هون إنه obviously it won't be streamlined like it was pre-August 4th, but no, we will have to
it's
adapt.
Just like, you see, everything you're saying is correct. And honestly, at the end of the day, we all want to live here, you know? I mean, I don't want to have to leave and go to the US or have my sister be in Dubai or, I mean, we were 11 guys. None of them are here. None of my friends are here. I'm literally alone. I'm the only last man standing from the whole crew. Everyone is somewhere. That fucking sucks. You know, your friends, we don't have this. We don't have this. We don't have this. We can't keep, we don't have, we try to develop communities and we try to raise them, but they keep getting dispersed and they have to keep leaving. So if you ask me, do I want hope? Yes. I'd love to live here. Who has a country like ours? Everything is 5 minutes apart. Obviously, a lot of countries in the world are beautiful, but ours is tiny and beautiful.
Tiny.
That's what's nice about it. It's so close. Everything is so close to each other, and we have it all. But the bomb happened, man. And that's what's so scary, is that it happened, and it's going to happen again, and it's happening today, and it's going to happen again, because it's crooks, warlords that put suits on, and now gangsters are politicians, and these guys are negligent. They are criminals. That's who they are. You can't speak to a criminal. You can't speak to a Pablo Escobar and tell him to. You can't speak to these people. You just can't. These are criminals. What happened here is just criminal. And for them, it's normal. So this is going to happen again, bro.
Yeah.
But next time you could die.
Yeah.
Or your sister could die, or your mother could die, or your friend could die. Is it worth it? This is the real question. Post-bomb? Yeah. Earn some bucks from outside, send them here. Keep it going. Pre-bomb. Post-bomb? You really have to think twice, bro.
Yeah, of course. Putting our hearts back into it and rebuilding, you have to ask yourself the question, if the system doesn't change,
what's the point of rebuilding?
Exactly, because this can happen again and again and again and again and again, and then
how many years are we going to waste?
We're
in our 30s right now. How much money have we spent? How much money have we invested? We've invested 10 million. 10 million.
And it's gone in a few seconds.
I know, can you imagine?
Yeah.
And for those that, let's say, had the millions or retired on them and they can't touch their money?
Yeah. What a mess.
I know.
يعني كل يعني The thing is, the other day I was hearing on TV, they were speaking about مش on TV actually. There's this group of people that are really also trying to push forward, trying to change, you know, trying to get to مجلس النيابة بكرة بالانتخابات to see if they can push forward some sort of agenda. And they were speaking their first and foremost as a بدك thing that they wanted to do is when you say capital control, it can't be put on the people that have $100,000 after 50 years of work.
Look, even if
like
you have
my
10 million
parents.
and you lived in Africa and you earned your money fairly, why would you be kept? Why would you like if you paid your taxes? Why should you be touched? Even if you have more than $1 million or 2 or 3.
Yeah, 100%.
But
it touches. يعني,
I know.
It's really fucked up on everyone at all levels, right? And
why should we pay for the price of their corruption and their I mean, the banks loan the government, right? Why did you loan the government? Why did you loan the government? Did you ask for their audit report?
For years.
But did you ask them if you loan me money? Wouldn't you ask me for accountability to return your money back? Wouldn't you see if I have assets to give you your money back? Wouldn't you see if my credit rating is good to give you your money back? Yeah. If you were to loan me without asking those, you're an idiot. But you're loaning my money without doing the back, like without, you know, checking. That's your responsibility.
That's true.
Not mine.
No, that was the first time they didn't check. But the second and third and fourth time, they knew it. And no, the first time they didn't check.
Sure.
But like 15 years later, they knew what was happening. They were like, take their money وعلى صحتين على قلبكم.
That's exactly what
Yeah,
exactly. That's my point.
Yeah, if this system doesn't change.
But you think it will change?
يا خيي.
You really think it will change? Look, there's a ripple effect that's happening right now. Definitely the circumstances that have led from October 17 to now, it's not going to have the same. But effectively, really, or is it going to change?
It has to be. It's not going to change in the way people think. إنه كل هالمنظومة رح تنكب بالبحر ورح نرجع نبلش from scratch. It will have to change brick by brick, like it always was supposed to change. If that also doesn't work, then كل حادث له حديث. But brick by brick, it has to change.
But not a single brick has moved, right? Here we are talking almost a year later. We're going to extend this talk a little bit more. Not a single brick. Sorry, guys, I have to do. I'm sorry. This is good. Don't stop me. Not a single brick has been moved yet, and here we are almost a year since people's eyes finally opened up to the situation going on around us. So what kind of hope can we have that we can have more confidence in the nation? Because I mean, Nemer's he's being honest, he's being direct, and.
No, but there is a change. There is
a ripple effect.
في a nationalism that's back again since October 17. يعني تلاميذ الجامعة يلي صاروا بيفهموا بالسياسة وبالاقتصاد. أنا كنت تلميذ جامعة ما كنت بفهم لا بالسياسة ولا بالاقتصاد. I never understood these things.
كمان. At the end of the day, being a politician is no longer a respectable thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Also
back in the day, before that, you being a politician, our friend's father was a politician or whatnot. It was something to look. It was nice. Now I don't really want to be associated to you.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's definitely. So we're agreeing, bro, that something has changed, but we need to talk about effective change. Okay. We're going to talk about effective change because it's going to affect your life, my life, and our families' lives. Are we going to sit here and ruin the rest of our lives? Is it going to happen? Is it going to take 20 years, 30 years? It sucks to say this. It really sucks to say this because we need to be doing it. But who's going down to the thawra? It's us.
Yeah.
It's him. It's us. But really, effectively, the people, the ones that really need to be there, are they there? They were there for a bit. It was beautiful to see what happened from Tripoli, from the north to the south. But how long did it last?
No, I really think that there is a collective consciousness that's happening since October 17. And I would sacrifice a lot of time and operation if that means there is some sort of change that will come way down the line. Because, brick by brick, and it really starts with a collective consciousness and nationalism that we are seeing today. We had never seen that. We had never seen that in the 90s, even when Hariri came back and gave so much عطى كتير breadth and hope. There wasn't that collective. كان في في that Hariri guy that's rebuilding Beirut, بس ما كنا, we weren't part of it. يعني اليوم وقت يقولوا الشباب الصغار انه استرجاع الصحات العامة صاروا رجعوا الصحات لنا نحن هيدا حديث كتير كبير. هيدا حديث that's moving. اليوم all the look at Megaphone for example. Look at that free press. You know, قبل كان عنا إنه نهر
TV,
ديار
TV,
كذا
TV.
ما كان عنا شيء
Yeah,
نقدر نشوفه. So في collective consciousness يلي عم بيصير that will affect everybody if we push forward. But yes, I really understand the degree of our loss. Sometimes بتحطهم on the balance and you're like,
It's at the end of the day selfishness.
Of course.
It's,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
need,
yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, we have done our part for this country. We're 11 boys, last man. I've done my part.
Yeah.
I've invested a shitload of money in this country. I stayed here. I put hopes. I put Lebanon on the map. So did you. We all did. We did our part for this country. This is the question right now. Do I do the selfish thing and leave and have normal problems? Normal fucking problems? Like a dog shitting on my lawn?
Or a depressed dog.
Or, you know, that's, you know, can I have those problems? Am I entitled to have those fucking problems?
Have to worry
Come
about
on.
or no electricity, no water,
Had
the gas tanks.
Crazy, man.
The
Like,
gas
how much can one take? It's, honestly, I'm grateful for it all.
Yeah.
We survived a nuclear bomb. I mean, we are the strongest, toughest businessmen in the world. No one will beat us. Anywhere you put us in the world
there
right
was
now,
there was
we
a
will
joke
survive.
the other day, not a joke, but really, if you know, we all should change our CVs from did that to survivor of.
Yeah,
You know,
that's right.
fuck the did that part.
First
Survived that, survived this, and any company would look at that and like, you're hired, done. You know,
I
you know,
mean,
مش
it's
معقول شو عشنا، ما معقول شو عشنا in the
I
past
mean,
15 years.
as a few reporters said it, and even if a Hollywood producer were to make a movie about this, they would just like tone it down. This makes no
It's too
sense.
much, yeah.
It's too much. It's not realistic.
Yeah.
Anyways, what you're saying is completely right, and we need to give hope and we need to push it. But this is where the real question lies for us: are we going to be selfish and think about us because we could really do very well outside? Anywhere we were placed after what we went through, we would flourish, we would be rich, we would be happy, we would have normal problems, and we would just live because this is what it's about at the end of the day: living, having a good time.
I think a
Raising
healthy
your kids and
I
having
think
a
a healthy
lifestyle.
mix because انت كمان اليوم ما رح تطلع بطياره وتبرم ظهرك على كل هيدا الشغل اللي اشتغلته اخر 10 سنين.
بس يمكن بدي اطلع عائلتي لبرا.
So you will have to do a healthy mix of everything. So we will have to continue what we did here because we believe in it خيي, so much. We didn't do it because we wanted a quick buck. We did it because we believed in it. We have to continue it, but at the same time we have to look today a company like Nemer's or a company like ours or كل هيدا الموضوع, we were housing 173 people working within that institution that were probably putting food on the table for 173 families.
That's true.
هودي الجماعة انه اليوم بدنا نكمل معهم, بدنا نشوف شو بده يصير معهم. They've been working with us for over 6 years now, so they're like family. بتعرفوا, بيعرفك, بيعرف اهلك. انه اكيد there's gonna have to be a healthy mix of how we move forward. كيف نشتغل, you never know. معقول اليوم this pressure that's happening internationally, the collective consciousness of the young people, and the fact that today there are certain things that are changing, we might be looking at a different scene.
Maybe.
Inshallah.
If this
Inshallah.
happens,
Yeah.
I'm
Hallelujah.
serious. We're all rich.
Hallelujah.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
We're all rich. This country, the rich. It's not possible not to be rich in this country. This is a functioning country. It could be a functioning country.
With zero resources.
Seriously, like it's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, come on, tell them how much money you make every year. We make money. You know, it's not like, you know, it works with all the shit. Can you imagine it worked? Perfect. I don't want to go. I don't want to. But I might have to.
There's a part of your unconscious that's a bit worried about staying, right?
Valentina doesn't want to come down to Beirut.
Yeah.
And you know,
What's stay in the mountains and
I know she doesn't want to come down, and she's worried every time she comes down. Yeah, you know what? Like, شو بدي أقول يعني?
yeah.
What do I tell her?
Come on down. Let's go for a cruise. You know, we're sitting here with, you know, two guys who represent, you know, the real probably 80% of the modern happening Beirut nightlife. You know, this is essentially our backbone, you know, to what's created the scene and where it was at its finest for the last 8-9 years. And here we are, all of us got hit by one giant hit. It was several small steps that happened, including the pandemic, leading us to, you know, where we were to now. And August 4th, and here we are talking almost 2 months later, and it feels like some of us are still in confusion whether we should even try reinvesting? We should even try to keep some kind of hope or whatsoever? Or do we just stay chill and wait for the storm to pass? Because here it is, the summer is already over. We didn't have a summer 2020. I think you guys barely had a couple of weeks, and I know that you guys had lots of plans too, but obviously, there's things that didn't come through. What would be the first thing that would give you guys, especially you, Nemer, what would give you optimism that, okay, it's time that we get our show, happening again?
I don't know, man. I mean, I really want to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I think that if we see a bit of change with all this international pressure that's coming from abroad, if we get a bit lucky, if we see signs of like a bit of normalization when it comes to the economy or I have $2 million worth of assets sitting right here. Like I just throw them away.
I'm just doing nothing.
I have $400,000 worth of trees. I have $500,000 worth of sound system. I have $1 million worth of structures. What do I do with them? I want to use those assets. If I put them in a hangar, they're going to rot. Yeah. The trees will dry and everything else will go away. So, sure. Can you tell me next summer will we be operational? Maybe. The pandemic hopefully will be over. Hopefully, if this capital control stops and they manage to peg the Lebanese pound to a normal rate where we can actually use our money to be able to. I mean, we're very dependent on the dollar. How do we get international DJs? Will the scene change? Maybe. Maybe we'll have to rely on local talents. Maybe that's the next step. Khalas. We can't bring international DJs. You can't, I can't. Hence, that's it. This is the reality of things. That it might be, the rise of the local talent. That might be a good thing as well. Who knows? But a lot of things have to happen before any of us take a risk of reopening, because unfortunately, if we reopen, we could even lose more. You have to start paying rent. You have to start paying your employees. You have to pay your suppliers. How are we going to make money? How much are we going to sell our vodka Red Bull for?
Yeah, like the conversation is twofold, right? Like I said a bit earlier, there is, and at a certain point when we're going through such a deeply rooted crisis, you have to separate both. You have your kind of like mission statement and what you wanted to do. Because at the end of the day, if you ask me on a personal level, I'm an artist. I love making music and I love making people happy. That's a mission statement. I love getting people together, etc., etc. إذا بهانغار بتيز البحر أو إذا in a nice place called or the Grand Factory, wherever that is or whatever that looks like. And also in parallel, you have the operations of things. I think because of all the challenges that we've been presented, and because every single time we're presented with a certain challenge, we kind of understand how are we going to adapt and how we're going to do that. The operation side of the business will have to change drastically. But our belief system and what we always did, because, for example, at there were 4 nights at right, in summer. There was one night that was built on the international DJs, which was Saturday, second Sun. Then you had 3 other nights that were built on the local music and local talent. The same was with Disco Banana. So the Disco Banana was, you had some dancers from abroad, but the DJs and the artists were local DJs. There were people that were bringing the party.
Season, the dancers were local as well.
Exactly. So
true.
the idea is like we were doing a healthy balance of a lot of different things. And if that today has to change, then it has to change, and at the end of the day, you really have to separate both. This one is A-okay today, yesterday, tomorrow, every day of the week. Our heart is always in the right place. We want musically our culture to survive, to always be a beacon of light for our country, for the region. Operationally, هيدا حديث بده فيه كتير أسئلة، فيه سؤال عن الدولة وين بدها تصير، سؤال عن السيستم كله كيف بده يكون راكب، عن الباجينج كيف بده يصير، إذا it's always gonna be fluctuating, etc., etc. So many questions there. But today, are we ready for even our profit margin to disappear? At a certain extent,
yes.
It had already disappeared in the last operational months before the explosion. Right, since the dollar became 7,500, etc., etc. No, المعاشات كمان معلوا بنفس الوقت, so it was
people
kind
couldn't
of
afford.
So that profit margin we waved goodbye to that profit margin. But you know something, at the end of the day, we still looked at ourselves. We were happy. Our employees were happy. Our people were happy. The DJs were still coming in. The parties were still happening. And that's, the golden days were there. Today, we're on at a different level. You go outside also. You try to open a few things outside. You try to do a healthy mix of everything. There isn't a rule book, right? There isn't a club success for dummies.
Yeah.
That book does not exist. You know what? You have one for DJs, but you don't have one for. The book
DJs
exists.
are not gonna like that one.
The book exists.
They exist.
DJing for dummies. No, it's a series. It's a series.
Dummies,
So,
yeah.
but there isn't one of like building a successful Haida in a crisis,
In a troubled
economic.
nation. Yeah.
That manual doesn't exist.
Yeah, yeah.
So we will have to rewrite that manual in a way, and we will have to stand together and see what happens.
Story of a Lebanese man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah. See, you got to rewrite the book.
Story of a Lebanese
I mean, we had
Or a woman's.
we had a festival in 2019. That was like the ultimate dream for like 10 years working up to that. Hala, it did lose money. It didn't make money.
Festivals lose money the
Of
first
course,
4 years.
of course, but
It's not your
no-
fault. Every festival loses
Of
money.
course, but you know, we got to a place where يعني, the future looked bright in the toughest scenario.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
بس إنه
Summer
خيي
2019 was great.
إيه so إنه يلا.
And this was right before you know, so that means that it wasn't good. Lebanon was not good in summer 2019, but it was a great summer
Life
for
was
us.
resilient.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
this is what I'm trying to say is that it cannot have been good economically and in the back end to happen what happened in October 17th. Something wrong was happening. But for us to have, for a festival to have had happened in Lebanon, for us to have had a record-breaking summer,
It looks like it would be the first industry that can probably be saved from all this.
Yeah, the numbers say it. This is one of the biggest contributors to our GDP. I mean, I'm all for going back to agriculture and all of that. That's amazing. But that is amazing. That is amazing. I'm not saying it in any
No,
cynical.
really.
It's amazing. But you have, we have an industry that doesn't need rehabilitation. It's there. The people are there. We can do it. All we need is just not to die. يعني that's the only thing we're asking for. ما عم نطلب شيء تاني. ما بدي شيء. بس بدي ما نموت
Don't kill
خير.
us.
بس
It's so simple.
بس.
So easy, yeah.
عن جد. You know
simple.
something? It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny that we're sitting in Iris today, and
Yeah.
this the AdMind people, and thank you for them for having us here. And you see, you know, look at this place. How you know. How
Yeah.
much time and energy went into this place, and it was happening. It was buzzing. You said we're 80%. We're actually not. We're 80% of maybe the alternative side of clubbing. But there is so much happening in this country. So much. It's unreal how much is happening in that industry and how much potential that industry has. We just need هيك basics. ما بدنا أكثر من basics.
Just let us survive.
Basics.
Yeah.
okay.
Guys,
well said.
I gotta love having you guys here together. You know, again, you know, two in previous times you would consider them competing forces, but you can see that their voices are united. You know, with everything that's happened in the country, and it's been an honest pleasure being with you guys here at Rendezvous for Beirut. We can only be optimistic for a certain limit. Maybe we're on our last thread, but we still got a thread left, right?
Yes,
You know, we
I
still
do
have at
agree.
least bet.
I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, the Lebanese people, the Lebanese flag, this country has always been a beacon of hope. We've survived. We are the oldest culture in the world. We've survived so many things. This is nothing in the history of this country or this piece of land. Lebanese people are resilient. They're perseverant. They've destroyed and accomplished so many things outside of this country. Hopefully, things will change. Times will turn, and the Lebanese people will wake up, and change will happen, and we will be able to all live here, all our friends to come back, for us to regrow our community, our kids to grow up here, and just have a normal, happy, decent life.
Yeah, what a beautiful dream.
That would have been really amazing.
Nemer, Saliba, Überhaus, Garten, Discotek, and all them. Wassim, Malham also, from Factory People, and all those other venues that exist as well. It's been a pleasure having you guys here.
Thanks, sir.
Rendezvous for Beirut really appreciates your insight,
Thanks,
and
man.
it's so nice having you guys sit down. We should do this more often, guys. Right?
Yes.
And just a reminder that Ivan Debs, the artwork, is still being auctioned, and so all the proceeds from that will go to the NGOs. So make sure that you do put a bid, as that auction is going to end very, very soon. Thanks a lot, brothers. It's been fantastic having you here. We've partied a lot. We'll have some tequila hopefully soon, and we'll have some after parties and live our lives together again.
Yes,
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Habibi.
Thanks.
Thank you.